Welcome to the Fraction Report. I'm your host, George Fraction, bringing you the good news you can use. You know what I'm saying? Today is June 27th, 2022. And our topic for today is going to be the Supreme Court and all the rulings that have been going on with it, so forth and so on. I'm going to give you some background on how we got to where we're at here today. And before we get any further, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to ask you to like, you know what I'm saying, share, you know what I'm saying, but please don't compare. You know, we internationally known and locally accepted, and I'm here to degentrify your news. Now, if you are in tune with the news and anything that what's been going on, you've been hearing about the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. Now, for some of y'all may not know what Roe v. Wade is and you know what it entails. Roe v. Wade was a 1973 ruling in the Supreme Court which guaranteed a woman the constitutionally protected right to a legal abortion. So we can begin by, you know, before we can even dig into how this came about to understand the Supreme Court, you got to know what the Supreme Court is. It was established in 1789. The first assembly was in the next year, 1790. It's considered it is the highest court, legal court in the land, and their job is to interpret the Constitution as it pertains to your legal rights, so forth, so on. Now, again, it was established in 1789, and the first assembly was in 1790. The Emancipation Proclamation wasn't signed until 1863, and word didn't get to Texas till June of 1865, hence why you was just out here barbecuing. Now, Friday, June 24th, 2022, you had the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. Wade. And since then, 9 states have banned abortion. 17 more, you know, are lined up to do the same. You got one of the justices, Clarence Thomas. He's been stated as saying that there are other landmark, quote unquote, rulings that need to be overturned via same-sex marriage, the right to contraception, various things. You have Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's urging President Biden to open up health clinics on federal land in states where abortion is being banned. We'll see how that goes. We got former Vice President Mike Pence. He's calling for a national ban on all abortion. All abortion. And I'm talking about in the case of rape and incest. Now, we have a woman here, a congresswoman from Illinois named Mary Miller. She was out on the campaign trail with Trump, former President Trump, on Saturday, and got on stage and literally said, thank you for giving us a historic victory for white life. And it was later on, her campaign stated that she was misquoted and meant to say a historic victory for the right to life. You do with that what you will. Now, to fully understand everything what's going on right now, because there's a lot of people in the uproar and they're saying, oh, you know, we're going to fight, we're going to stand. You know, you had Maxine Waters out protesting and stating that, you know, they're going to continue to fight. And she made an emphasis in saying that black women aren't going to lay down for this and, you know, so forth and so on. And you got to fight on your hands and, you know, so, yeah, it's a lot going on with the Supreme Court right now. And we're going to get into some other rulings as well. But the main thing that's in your news cycle right now, I mean, if you go on Twitter, Facebook, any of your social sites, YouTube, anything, you're going to see that this abortion thing is really, really going on. And I'll just say on the record, my stance on it is to each their own. You know what I mean? And that's my stance in life. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you want to do, just don't get none of that shit on me. You know? So, you know, it is what it is. But let's, if you will, to understand what went on Friday, we have to jump in the time machine, if you will. Let's go back to a magical time for a lot of y'all. To the year of our Lord 2016, when y'all Lord and Savior Barack Hussein Obama was in office. And I'm finna upset a few people, but hey, you know, it is what it is. I'm stating facts. You can fact check it. And in fact, I hope that you would. My mouth ain't no prayer book. You know what I mean? Now, back in 2016, Barack Obama nominates an individual by the name of Merrick Garland. And he was to replace an individual named Anthony Scalia, who had passed away. Now, he nominates this man, and at the time you had the Senate Majority Leader from Kentucky named Mitch McConnell. And he vowed that he would not confirm this individual because it was an election year. He stood firm on that, and Merrick Garland was not confirmed. He sat for 293 days. That is the longest in history of the court. And in the end, he was not confirmed. So, again, we have Senate Majority Leader at the time, Mitch McConnell, saying that he's not going to confirm Merrick Garland because it's an election year. Now, fast forward, if you will, to 2020. Some of you may know her as RBG or whatever you know, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed, and Trump was in office, and there was an individual named Amy Coney Barrett who was put up for nomination for the Supreme Court. Mitch McConnell had no problem with confirming this individual. Now, it was September 29th of 2020. And on October 26th of 2020, Amy Coney Barrett was confirmed. I say that to say this, good people. There were missed opportunities throughout the Obama era. Now, I'm not here to bash Obama, but I'm not here to ride his pole either. I'm here to state the facts as they are and tell you why what happened Friday happened and how it came to happen. Now, if we go by the numbers, Barack Obama was in office for 8 years. He confirmed a total of 329 judges. Donald Trump was in office for 4 years, and in that time, he confirmed 234 judges. The breakdown of that goes like this. With the Supreme Court confirmations, not nominations, but confirmations, people who were actually put onto the bench. Supreme Court, Obama 2, Trump 3. U.S. Courts of Appeal, Obama 55, Trump 54. U.S. District Court, Obama 268, Trump 174. U.S. Court of International Trade, Obama 4, Trump 3. Now again, we're talking 8 years to 4 years. You do with that what you will. But the fact of the matter is this, where Trump pushed people through with the help of Mitch McConnell and others and so forth and so on. You can research that and go into the breakdown of how that goes down. And I just told you about the young turtle, Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. Basically, I mean, there's a clip out there where he's vowing to not confirm Merrick Garland because it's an election year. And in 2020, he was asked what he would do if one of the justices would pass in an election year. And with a snapping turtle smirk, he whispered through his mouth, "Confirm him." So, again, do with that what you will. Now, what this means, good people, is that to legally get abortion, you were going to have to go to a state that's basically calling themselves at this point a sanctuary state. And there's a lot of things that are going to be entailed in this, because now we've opened up Pandora's box to where if you facilitate giving someone a ride to go get an abortion, that would be illegal. You know, so I mean, there's gonna be a whole black market out here for people attempting to get abortion. You know, excuse me. I'm sure you all have heard about individuals who go to these hotel rooms and get these cosmetic procedures. Well, now it'll be going down to Miami. I'm getting a BBL, and you know, two of my homegirls need an abortion. You know, it's going to be that type of deal. You know, we're going to be back to the days of the back alley abortions and clothes hangers and, you know, things of that nature that are quite unnecessary. And we can get into the more clinical reasons as far as I believe I'm pronouncing this correctly, ectopic pregnancies, when the baby is in the fallopian tube and the mother's life is at risk as well as the child's life. What do we do then? And, you know, I know individuals who have gone through that, and it's a very intense and very scary situation. So, like I say again, I sympathize, but it is, you know, my opinion don't have no dominion in the court. So, with that being said, again, it's a lot going on out here as far as abortion is concerned. And let's see what else we have on the docket. And by all means, feel free to research everything that I'm saying and, you know, look into these things so you can have your own understanding of what I'm actually speaking on. Because, again, these things are going to affect your life. As far as the young men out here, I see a lot of things going on the internet where there's conversations saying that females are going to have to be responsible now. Well, my kind brother, let me tell you something. That coin has two sides. And where they're not having abortions, you know, that 700 that you gave her, yeah, that's going to transform into something else, man. You know? Yeah. We're talking a lifetime now. You know, with that 700, you know, rectified, quote unquote, whatever you had going on. Now we're talking about a lifetime of stability and support in whatever manner. You know, may not always be financial. You know, this is a whole human being. Yeah, I mean, come on now. So again, things are gonna really be shaken up by this. You know, and it behooves you to get a clear understanding of where it is that you stand and where it is that you and your people stand. Because if you have young children, I mean, it's a very topical issue. You dig? So, like I said again, I'm just here to give you an outstanding understanding about what's going on in the country today. And at this point, we're going to move on to another ruling that the court decided to make, and that is based on the 1966 ruling of Miranda versus Arizona. Now, for some of you, you may not understand what Miranda is. Miranda is your rights, the acknowledgement of your rights. This law enforcement officer or whatever authority figure that has the right to have you in any form of custody, it is the practice of them informing you of your rights if you didn't know them already. So I'm sure you've watched a crime drama or you've watched any of these reality shows, i.e. Cops, First 48, when they get the perp and or suspect and state that you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. If you You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. You have the right to have an attorney present during questioning. If you do not have an attorney present while you're being questioned and you begin to talk, you have the right to stop talking at any time. And again, you can look all of this up and get it verbatim, but that's just the quick rundown of it. Point is this, and I'm sure many of my good tax-paying, law-abiding viewers, they may never need this information, but there's always that one in the family, you know? We'll just call him Cousin Jamal. Yeah, good old Jamal. Jamal may call at 1:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock maybe. You know? You might have to go bond him out. He got your money back. Good guy. Solid guy. 100. But he doesn't know, or may not know, that the Supreme Court just ruled that if the arresting officers or law enforcement, whatever it may be, do not read you your Miranda rights, now that you cannot sue them. You cannot sue law enforcement because they didn't read you your Miranda rights and took you to jail. Furthermore, it gives judges the discretion to choose about evidence. Because if somebody makes a statement, just say hypothetically you're in an interrogation room and you make a statement that incriminates you in any kind of way, and your Miranda rights haven't been read to you before the ruling Friday, that wouldn't have been admissible in court by law because you were ignorant to the fact of your rights and no one informed you about your rights. Therefore, your ignorance is null and void. You see what I'm saying? It's like your ignorance negates whatever you said because you weren't informed that you had a right to remain silent. You got interrogated without having a lawyer in the room, and you didn't know that you had a right to an attorney. Or you continued to speak and you didn't understand that you had the right to be quiet from day one. You never had to give them your name. And you just deal with whatever you deal with. You get what I'm saying? So now they don't have to do that. So it behooves you to talk to Cousin Jamal and make sure that Cousin Jamal understands their rights, their Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, and many other rights. And that's why I speak on having a legal class in the community. I mean, I would like to do it at any kind of community center. We don't have to do it at any place of worship because that tends to drive people away because they feel that it's segregated now. And if you're not a person of faith or whatever, no, I want to do it in an open space where young people, old people, you know what I mean? We can come together and speak about the legalities of our situation here and get a clear understanding because, again, they just struck this down. So if you get pulled over and they attempt to take you into custody, they don't have to tell you that you have a right to remain silent. They don't have to tell you that you have a right to an attorney. And if you can't afford one will be provided by the government. They don't have to tell you this anymore. You just have to know this. So hypothetically, in a situation where a person doesn't know this, when they get incarcerated or put into custody, they're not going to know to force the issue to stand on their public defender because it's their right to have proper representation. So if you don't know the fundamentals of your rights and things go south for you, you can't even begin to get into the appellate situation because you don't know anything about having adequate representation. You don't even know that you're supposed to be afforded representation, let alone adequate representation. So again, it all draws back to education. So again, this was a 1966 verdict by the Supreme Court stating that law enforcement is to inform you of your rights. And again, you can look it up and, it's the right to remain silent, the right, to have an attorney present, so forth, so on. Honestly, I had an idea in my mind and I'll be back to y'all on that about really getting that information out here. We really have to push that, because if you don't understand your Miranda rights, a lot of things can go on, and that goes for traffic stops. That goes for any type of interaction with the police or any type of law enforcement. You know what I mean? Federal agents, anything like that. They do not have to tell you that you have a right to remain silent or anything after that. They don't have to do that by law. So, don't want to dwell on that too long. Let's get to the next thing, and that would be the Supreme Court ruling on a decision about a high school football coach wanting to pray on the field. They ruled in his favor. The case is Kennedy versus Washington State Public School. And they ruled in favor of the coach, saying that he has the First Amendment right to demonstrate his faith publicly. So that's opening the door for separation of church and state to get dealt with, and a lot of different things. And it's all based on, you know, how you want to view things. A lot of what's going on right now is based in religiosity. And that's a very dangerous thing to do when it comes to legality and, you know, things of that nature. Because I saw some on the internet today, you know, and I didn't find it blasphemous. I found it quite humorous myself, because a lot of the arguments of what's going on is based on quote unquote faith. So if you're a person of quote unquote Christian faith, then you would know the story of, you know, the story. Anyway, it stated that it says, so God has the right to kill his only son, but I can't. Something to that effect. Basically, like, God had the right to kill his only son, according to your story, but I got to raise mine. Or do whatever, you know? So I found that interesting. Because a lot of the arguments that are, there are no new arguments. From what I'm saying, it's all still based on the 1973 arguments and things of that nature. I mean, again, there's a lot of information out here. It behooves you, meaning that it benefits you to look into these things. And again, we're going to go back to these numbers so you can understand how this came to be, because you need to understand your political power. When you vote for these people, that is a business transaction. Because what happens is they install these people into these positions, and once they get the people into play where they want them, because they're playing long ball, you're voting for this election cycle. They're voting for 20, 30 years. You know, they're telling you vote blue no matter who. And a lot of times, you know, people go for that. And that's, you know, I'm not here to indoctrinate you with any form of political belief. That's a whole nother episode. I'm just giving you the numbers on how the decisions were made, the way that they were made, based on voting and things that people do and don't do when they're in office. And again, I said your Lord and Savior, Barack Obama, because for so many, if you walk into their homes, they have a picture of Martin Luther King, Jesus, and Barack Obama. What did he do? You're looking at the numbers here as far as when it comes to judges. We're talking 8 years versus 4. And people will say, oh, he didn't have the Senate with him. He didn't have this with, hey, listen there, you had veto power, my guy. Because old boy came in there up after you and, hey, the agenda got pushed. Period. Point blank. So, I mean, crutches and cop-outs, man, you know? But God bless his spirit. Michelle, the dog, the children, everybody. I'm just giving you the numbers on the judges that were put into place in his time. Again, we got 8 years, 329, versus Trump's 4 years of 234. And again, on that breakdown, you got the Supreme Court, Obama 2, Trump 3. The U.S. Courts of Appeals, 55 Obama, 54 Trump. U.S. District Court, 268 Obama, 174 Trump. U.S. Court of International Trade, 4 Obama, 3 Trump. Again, 8 years to 4 years. And when you put judges in on a state level, as far as on the state Supreme Court, now that the Supreme Court has struck down Roe v. Wade, it's quote unquote left up to the states. So what do you think that these state judges are going to do? Come on now. And if it doesn't get past the state court, it ain't going to the Supreme Court. So they're cutting it down before it even gets there, even though they already, you know what I mean? It's over with. It's done. It's a wrap. Until people realize that voting on a local level means more than voting in these quote unquote national or big elections. Your local officials and your whole demo, all this, it matters. So again, this is how this came to be. You know what I mean? When again, your Lord and Savior, your our friend, Barack Hussein Obama was in office, you know, he didn't get the confirmations that he needed. And one of the main confirmations that would have helped, and it would have even, you know, things out a little bit more, was in, again, 2016 when he nominated Merrick Garland and could not get him confirmed. And I'm talking 293 days. But let's fast forward. It didn't take a month. I'm talking about it didn't take 30 days for them to slide Amy Coney Barrett in here. So I ask you again, what is your vote worth? You know? And I'm going to end on this note because at this point I feel that I'm carrying on. I am of the belief that, again, your vote is a business transaction. So me voting for you and or me not quote unquote voting at all is just as powerful as me voting. Because if I'm going to vote for you and not get anything back, I'm being used. So let me step back from this process and allow you to do with it what you will. Because for so long we've had taxation without any representation. You have many bills that have been passed. Anti-hate this, anti-hate this, anti-hate that. And it varies across the gamut of many groups. Yet there is no anti-hate bill for black people. Or the should I say the descendants of American slaves. We don't have reparations. But yet we send money to Israel every year. We didn't perpetrate a Holocaust against Israel. Germany did, so why aren't they paying them? Why didn't they pay them? We gave the Japanese money when they dropped bombs on Hiroshima. Again, you do with this what you will. But this is the Fraction Report, and I appreciate y'all checking in. And like I said again, please like and share, but never compare. You know, and we signing off. Y'all be cool.